I'm trying to think who needs to interpret for Robin and Johnny and the other part of the world there. I might be just a little hard to understand, but hopefully most of you will get the gist of most of what I'm going to cover here. I want to just tell you a little bit about the 3 months from now narrow gauge convention. We're actually under the 3-month mark. We are excited about things here in Hickory. We've still got some new things coming along. I got information today on another modular layout that's coming. So it's not part of the presentation. I got photos 20 minutes ago and I wasn't about to go down that road trying to add them. But the convention, if you don't already know, is September 1 through 4 in beautiful Hickory, North Carolina. If you were there 10 years ago, a lot of this is going to be repetitive, but I felt like I did need to cover some of the bases for people who have not been here before. And okay. Telling it to go to the next screen didn't. There we go. That, depending upon the size of your screen, that may be a little hard to see. Hickory is the blue dot that's not an interstate highway, just to the northwest of Charlotte. Anyone flying into the area, Charlotte is probably the best hub for the best prices and the most direct flights. To get to the convention center from the airport is about an hour, 10 minutes, depending upon the time of day. Try to leave Charlotte at 5 o'clock. That's not a good time in the afternoon to leave Charlotte. Everyone leaves Charlotte at 5 o'clock. The convention center was where all of our convention was in 2011. It was all under one roof. It's a little different this time. In the 10 years since you were there, they have added a multi-level parking deck in front of it, meaning that there's plenty of parking, no matter what hotel you park you park your car at. If you don't want to walk the short distance to the convention center, there's plenty of parking at the convention center, and it's free. This is the smaller of the two meeting rooms. We're actually going to be in the one that's a little larger than this. We have room in one big room for 300 plus tables, plus all the modular railroads. So this year or this decade, rather than being in one part of the building or the other, where all the modular people are going to be right in the room. And so far, we haven't booked anyone with real large and loud sound systems for their locomotives. So the vendors will not go crazy listening to chugs all for 4 days. But I think we're all going to have a good time in one room. It should facilitate shopping. It should facilitate inspiration, seeing these modular railroads and items for sale right next to them. There's been a lot of questions about the hotels. The convention center is in the lower right. The Crowne Plaza, which is our convention hotel, and I'm pointing with my fingers that no one can see, it's up here on the left-hand side of the screen. But to look at the scale, we're only about 1/10 of a mile apart. They're not far apart at all. We are going to have a shuttle bus going back and forth every few minutes. But all the other hotels, the Crowne Plaza is full, has been full for a few months now. I am staying on top of things with them. If there's any cancellations come up, we will get that on the website immediately. But they are full. The Hampton, we have rates with the Hampton Inn, the Courtyard, the There's a Fairfield and the Best Western. I think the Best Western is almost full. It is literally just below the convention hotel, and it's pet friendly. So I think a lot of our people snapped up those rooms first. But everything is convenient here. I jokingly say that the distance from the convention center to the convention hotel is about the distance you walk from one Chris Lane vendor room to the other vendor room in Denver. It's about the same distance. The Crowne Plaza is a nice hotel. This will be the last convention we will have there, because it's my understanding that they plan to build bigger on this site. So to come back here in the future, we'll have a taller hotel to stay in. This is where our contest room is going to be. They also have an adjacent building that has larger clinic rooms. This will give us opportunity to have more people in clinic rooms. And if you've been to the website lately, I did put that we've gotten a lot of COVID questions. We do intend to follow every rule and regulation that is in effect at the time. Right now, the state has opened up, pretty much opened up, as far as, especially if you're have been vaccinated, you don't even have to wear a mask in restaurants anymore. But we are going to tell everyone to bring a mask with them. We want everyone to feel comfortable. And if that means that you sit in the clinic in a mask, might cut down on the snoring for a few people, but bring that mask, be prepared, because we want everyone to feel comfortable. Several of our home layout people have asked that when people come to their home, that they wear a mask. I think that's a reasonable request to have their home open with what we've been through in the past year. So as much as I would love to tell everyone to burn the mask, we can't quite yet. Now, most of this presentation is about the home layouts, because I know that's what y'all are coming for. You're coming for great vendors in the vendor room. You're coming for great clinics. It's hard to show pictures of clinics, so we're going to show pictures of the home layouts and some of the modular railroads. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly because I want to have plenty of time for questions. But these are our narrow gauge layouts. We've got a good collection of layouts for people to see, but I know with this bunch, you're more interested in narrow gauge than you are standard. So I'll just go through a few pictures of each one to give you a feel for each one. Kevin Kussow is in Franklin, North Carolina. His is going to be a little bit of a drive. It's probably a 2-hour drive. It is a fantastic Silverton layout. He has agreed to be open on Wednesday and Saturday. So yes, you can get your registration packet at 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And instead of standing around looking cute, talking to all the other cute people, you can take the time and go see his layout. We've got the layouts of the greatest distance are going to be open on Wednesday and Saturday, so that everyone will have time to make the trip, go see them, and get back and not miss a thing. I took these pictures probably 2 or 3 years ago. He has been featured in model magazines. I don't have lists in front of me. Several of these have been featured in magazines. But he has done some beautiful work. His backdrops are fantastic. And it is mostly complete. I mean, it's hard, in a way, it's hard to tell that's a model. And it's hard to tell where the background begins, that's for sure. John Short, he is our home layout chairman. He has been to many narrow gauge convention, and he is working very hard to herd all these home layout cats to get all their information in for the timetable. Modelers are slow to get in information. I don't know why. But he has his own RGS layout, very nicely done. He's continually adding to it. He's actually added a level since I've been there. So he does some beautiful work. Some of you may have been to Bill Hayward's layout 10 years ago. It was open 10 years ago. He's one of the few people I know that has modeled a fair amount of standard gauge Rio Grande. He models the Alamosa area. So he's got a nice track that brings standard gauge into Alamosa. He runs some big equipment, has got a, when you see his layout, you feel like you're in that big flat area in Alamosa. And that's just looking across the layout on the standard gauge side of it. Since 2011, he has been building. He actually has a track up to his Cumbres Pass now. So he has a lot of narrow gauge to run as well. So if you've seen his layout, you've really only seen about half of it because he's almost doubled the size of that layout in the last 10 years. John Short really likes this cold dock. I've not seen a lot of people model this. It is huge. It's hard to get into a good photo. It's hard to get into one photograph. It makes a real nice night shot. The George L. Carter Museum, anyone who has been getting the HON3 annual for the last 7 or 8 years has seen the development and growth of this layout. They have, I've worked with them for several years. They've used a lot of stuff out of my books to recreate this railroad accurately. But they've got several hundred feet of model railroad built now, and it is to a large degree complete. Each time they expand it, though, there's more to do. This is just one section of it, and it's open to the public each Saturday. That's why you have the plexiglass. You know, it's not in someone's home, it's in a museum, but it is well worth the trip over the mountain to see. For those that are participating in our bus trip through Tweetsie Country on Tuesday, this is part of that trip. You will get to go to the Doe River Gorge and ride a real train up on 3-foot gauge track up the Doe River Gorge, and then you'll get back on the bus and go see this layout and be able to see what they've done for the same gorge in HON3. Fred Alsop is a master modeler, and his hands are all over this model railroad. You wonder why they modeled a tennis court at Cranberry? Is because there was a tennis court next to the track in Cranberry. There's photographs to prove it. And they have they model it as accurately as they can model it. This is the mine complex at Cranberry. This is a huge part of the layout, and I look at it from the historian's point of view, and everything is where it's supposed to be. It's very nice, and all the little details. This store is a new kit. Well, this store has been done as a kit in the last year. If you feel like it's something you need for your model railroad, they will have it for sale at the convention. It's a very nice country general store. This is not White River related. It's Kalmbach related. If you're ever look at the photo credits in model railroader articles, you will know Lou Sassy's name. He does a lot of the photography for that publication. His layout is down near the Raleigh area, but it's Owen. Well, he says it's Owen 30, but it's 2-foot gauge railroad of the main 2-foot, and he says it's 100% complete. I didn't know that you could 100% complete a model railroad. I thought you were never done, but he says it's done. He has done some beautiful work. He's got beautiful scenes here. He's also going to be open on Wednesday and Saturday. He's going to give 2 clinics as well. He is very knowledgeable and does beautiful work, I think. And if I go too fast on any of the pictures, somebody say something, but I'm trying to stay in my time constraints. We've got a gentleman that's doing the ET&WNC, which is very near and dear to my heart, in ON 30. When I first visited his layout, he was starting with the bench work. He is building a lot of railroad as quickly as he can build it. I'm sure in 3 more months, he will be a lot further along than he is now. But there's a lot of rock work in East Tennessee, and it shows in a lot of his work here. I don't think Rob Bell's with us. He usually gets up very early. He models the White Pass and Yukon in obviously a little more modern era. He runs some steam and some diesel. He and a group that he calls WAR, which is the Waynesville Area Railroaders. So they have WAR meetings once a month to come work on the railroad. He's also our modular chairman, so he's wearing multiple hats. He's modeling the White Pass, got some great work. They're doing, making great strides on his railroad. And yes, that's all prototypical for the White Pass. You can haul your Winnebago by narrow gauge. Couple of pictures. Some of you may have visited the Piedmont and Western, which is just 10 miles up the road, up the interstate. They have a large HO scale layout. They have added some HON3 logging on a new section that didn't even exist when you were there in 2011. I've seen a lot of people do logging, but not so much clear cutting. They've got some nice stuff here. So even if you were there in 2011, it's worth getting back to. For the large scale people, we've got a gentleman in the city of Charlotte who wanted a railroad around his swimming pool. I think that was a concession to his wife to have the pool.
Plastic for $2 at home.
But he has built a very large and long bridge to surmount the difference in elevation in his yard. So this is a train going almost half the layout is bridge. So he is amazing to watch a Shay pull a train along all this bridge. Few quick shots of our modular railroads. I'm meeting with these people Thursday at the convention center to make sure there's no issues with having live steam in the building. There shouldn't be. This group was, they were set up in Augusta, Maine. If you made it to the Augusta, Maine 2016 convention, they were set up outside. A lot of people walked right by and didn't know that they were there. We plan to have them in a more prominent location. But these are photos from some of their previous venues of where they've been. I can't quite figure out what this guy sees in front of him, but very interesting face on that engineer there. Live steam is a little thing all its own. They are very into it. I'm going to have nothing but praise for what they do, because it just smells right. I'm used to being around the real thing. So live steam has something that Bachman and Blackstone haven't come up with, is how to get the hot oil and coal smoke smell yet. If they ever come up with that, we've got it made. Some of you have probably seen the Mid-Atlantic Narrow Gauge Guild people before. This section of it are doing a section of the East Broad Top. Some nice work here. It's always a thing with modular people, because you can build it, but then you got to pick it up and move it. So I do not envy them at all getting set up and going. The Great Lakes HON 30 are going to be there. It's a nice large modular layout. This was their setup in Hickory in 2011. But they've got some really nice work as well. If you're familiar with the sipping and switching group, they set up at a lot of shows. They've set up at Timonium before in Maryland. They couldn't find the venue to set up this time. They were in a church in 2011, a church gym, and that wasn't available this time. Ken Anderson, I've known Ken for decades. He is one of the prime movers and shakers in that group. He is bringing some modules of some stuff he has built himself, which is a HON3 layout that allows him to switch. He loves switching to deal with both gauges, run a little diesel on occasion, but he really loves doing scenes. His scenery and his detail work is very nice, very detailed. And I can't help but think he's gone outside to take these pictures. I just don't think he has portable backdrops that quite match this. Gentleman's bringing a couple of modules that combines World War I love with railroading. That he's got a whole backstory for these modules. I won't go into it because he will go into it at length when you talk to him. And that's the presentation.